Speaker Nancy Pelosi has been clear with other members of the House and also the Senate is having a similar debate about impeachment. Now, Nancy Pelosi has been clear in saying, I don't think that impeachment is a good idea. She held a call with House Democrats this week, and during that call, she made her case. She said, quote, "We have to save our democracy. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's about saving our democracy. If it is what we need to do to honor our responsibility to the Constitution, if that's the place the facts take us, that's the place we have to go." Now, that makes it seem as though she's in favor of impeachment, but what she's saying there is, no, let's hold. I don't think it's a good idea right now. There are a number of investigations happening, and we should wait to see where these investigations lead us. She also continued to say, I know it's going to take courage on the part of all of our members to stick with a program that might not be as fast as they want. But again, I confess to you, and I say this to even my good friend Val Demings, who by the way wants impeachment, for whom I have the highest esteem, I'm not struggling with this decision, meaning I'm not struggling with whether or not to impeach him. I do not want to proceed with impeachment proceedings.
Usual Democratic weak leadership. It's not the resistance, it's hashtag submission. And it was immediate. The surrender was so swift. Pelosi sent Steny Hoyer out, her number 2 in charge, within 4 hours of the actual Mueller report coming out to say, we are sorry, we will not impeach. Donald Trump is our leader, we will not impeach. We are so sorry. God, they're so pathetic.
So let me just jump in for a second. Normally I would agree with you, and there are, of course, establishment Democrats like Nancy Pelosi who are incredibly weak. They don't want to fight. Now, the reason that they give is, look, this could actually backfire politically. We've discussed that on the show. I don't really want to, relitigate that. But Nancy Pelosi isn't the only one, right? In fact, there are a number of presidential candidates, some of whom we are pretty supportive of, who also don't want to move forward with impeachment. And I want to go to a video that kind of outlines all that.
Before we do though, I want to launch our petition, okay? Because I don't agree at all. I don't care if it's Bernie Sanders, I don't care who it is, okay? No, we fight on principle, not based on political expediency. So you cannot let the president be above the law. So we're launching this petition right now, and it's on tyt.com/impeach. And it says, now that the Mueller report has come out and has indicated the president has committed a clear crime, obstruction of justice, Congress should immediately move to impeach Donald J. Trump. This is his second provable crime, the other being campaign finance violations. If Congress does not act, it sends an unacceptable message that the president is above the law. I, the undersigned, believe in America and our democracy and ask Congress to enforce the law. tyt.com/impeach to sign it. Look, maybe 1 million signatures will get their attention because all they care about is politics for the Nancy Pelosi's of the world. So, okay, then let's show them our political force and our strength. Okay, now let's go to people we don't like and do like and look at the video, and then we'll discuss further on whether it's the right thing to do.
The impeachment proceedings are up to the House. They're gonna have to make that decision. I am in the Senate, so if the House brings the impeachment proceedings before us, we will deal with them. There is a third way to hold this president accountable, and that is by defeating him in the 2020 election.
If any other human being in this country had done what's documented in the Mueller report, they would be arrested and put in jail. And the tool that we are given for that accountability is the impeachment process. This is not about politics. This is about principle.
At the end of the day, what is most important to me is to see that Donald Trump is not reelected president. If for the next year, year and a half, going right into the heart of the election, all that the Congress is talking about is impeaching Trump and Trump and Mueller, and we're not talking about healthcare. We're not talking about raising the minimum wage to a living wage. What I worry about is that works to Trump's advantage.
This president and his administration engaged in obstruction of justice. I believe Congress should take the steps towards impeachment. I'm also a realist. I've not seen any evidence to suggest that they will weigh on the facts instead of on partisan adherence to being protective of this president. And that's what concerns me and what will be the eventual outcome. So we have to be realistic about what might be the end result, but that doesn't mean the process should not take hold.
I think he's made it pretty clear that he deserves impeachment. But I'm also going to leave it to the House and Senate to figure that out, because my role in the process is trying to relegate Trumpism to the dustbin of history while we're making sure there is oversight and accountability, which there's got to be. We've also got to make sure we're talking about the things that most affect people in an immediate and concrete sense. I mean, it's hard to look away from a horror show. That's just how it is. It's mesmerizing, but we have got to figure out a way to change the channel.
Okay, so there is a couple of different camps here. So there are the people who say, look, I want to focus on policy. That's largely Bernie Sanders. There are the people who talk out of both sides of their mouth. Oh my God, he's got impeachment coming. But I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's the House.
I'm gonna leave it to the House and the Senate.
I'm gonna leave it to the House. That's Klobuchar and Buttigieg, right?
Yeah, and Buttigieg is a mayor, so yeah, of course you're gonna leave it to the House and the Senate.
Yeah, nobody asked you to go and prosecute. You're not in the House. We get that. We're asking you, do you think they should do it? But overall, I still don't agree with Bernie Sanders. And so he says, oh, that's all the Congress is gonna do. What do you think they're gonna do now? Okay, so if I thought we had a shot at Medicare for all and this was gonna distract it, then I'm having a conversation. It's not like Kamala Harris rightfully points out, even though I don't like that framing, oh, well, there's more Republicans in the Senate, so it's unlikely that it's going to happen. There's also more Republicans in the Senate, so Medicare for all is not going to happen. Besides which, Nancy Pelosi hates Medicare for all and doesn't want it to happen. So it's not even gonna get it out of the House. It's not even gonna get voted in the House unless we put an enormous amount of pressure. So they're gonna sit around for 2 years doing nothing anyway. So just in terms of Congress, so you might as well do something, which is enforce the law.
Yeah.
And put principle above politics, even if you thought it was bad politics, and I don't think it's bad politics.
So, you know who actually persuaded me on this? Because I was on the fence. I didn't know how I felt about impeachment, and I was actually leaning toward, let's just focus on getting him out of office. Let's get someone else elected in. That's more important than wasting our time with something that Republicans in the Senate are not gonna vote in favor of, right? But Elizabeth Warren made such a compelling point yesterday, because even if the end result isn't what we'd want, which is impeachment, the reality is this is about ensuring that you set a precedent and you make sure that the president of the United States is not above the law. There were definitely findings in that report, obstruction of justice findings that were beyond problematic. And Mueller left it to Congress to do something about it, and to know that we have members of Congress, especially members of the Democratic Party, who are like, oh, this is gonna be too tough and it might be politically unpopular, so we're not gonna fight. That's pathetic. You wanna make sure that you hold Trump's feet to the fire. And it's not just about Trump, it's about the future of the presidency, and it's about ensuring that Congress does its job, which is provide a part of the important part of the checks and balances that are written in our Constitution.
And also, we can't have somebody be above the law. That's not what this country is. So look, the campaign finance violations, having somebody else make payments to your campaign, people go to prison for that all the time. You know who went to prison for it? A guy got no love for at all, Dinesh D'Souza, weirdo, right winger, etc. But he broke a law that was very, very similar. He broke the same law as Donald Trump, under very similar circumstances as Donald Trump, and he went to jail for it. You know who else is gonna go to jail for it? Donald Trump's co-conspirator in this case, Michael Cohen. He's going to prison for 3 years. So now when Pelosi says, nah, I'm gonna do more investigation. Nah, I don't really wanna do it. I think the politics is bad. She always thinks surrender is the best politics. That's all she's ever done. Same with Schumer. It's like, oh, I got a great idea on politics. Let's surrender right away, surrender, right? No, that's not good politics. Fighting is good politics. Making your own case is good politics. So it's completely unfair to every other American that he doesn't have to follow the law and that no one is going to enforce it. And on obstruction of justice, his second felony. Mueller report very clearly lays out at least 5 excellent reasons why he committed obstruction of justice, and says Congress should do something about this. We don't think the Department of Justice can indict a sitting president, but Congress certainly can take action. And Mueller made a huge mistake. He assumed that the Democrats had a spine. What a terrible assumption. The Democrats are like, oh, you told us to do something about it. Oh, no, I can't. That would require me to do something in my life. And look, why is Pelosi and Schumer in this camp? Because as Nancy Pelosi herself admitted, Donald Trump's great for fundraising. So they've raised a lot of money, the Democrats have, using Trump as the boogeyman. That's all they care about.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add more to that, because the reason that Democrats like Nancy Pelosi cite for not pursuing impeachment is because they claim they're worried that it would be politically unpopular and that it would backfire in the polls, that people would look at Trump as someone who's being treated unfairly by members of Congress. But at the same time, Nancy Pelosi is arguing, instead of doing these impeachment proceedings, why don't we focus on doing these investigations? And so there have been a number of subpoenas for Trump's taxes, number of subpoenas when it comes to Trump's security clearances. Those subpoenas are gonna have, and those investigations are gonna have the same type of, optical effect that you would get from impeachment proceedings, right? So for those who think that there's some sort of witch hunt against Donald Trump, if there were impeachment proceedings, they're gonna think the same thing when it comes to these investigations. It's not gonna change. When it comes to optics, it's gonna appear to be the same thing.
Look, they keep saying this nonsense talking point. Oh, it's only gonna help Trump because it'll get his voters energized. His voters are already energized. They came out and his base came out in record numbers in 2016. They actually came out in great numbers in 2018. The Democrats just had slightly better numbers in turnout, right? So it's not like they were dispirited or anything in 2016. They keep like, oh, don't offend Republicans because then they might come out and vote. They come out and vote anyway, you morons. So no, yes, you're supposed to fight the other party. That's what you're supposed to do in an election, not tiptoe around them and be like, oh, I don't want to anger the Republicans. Are you guys okay? The Republicans, are you okay? Whereas the Republicans come in and punch Democrats in the face every single election. Do you ever see Mitch McConnell or Ted Cruz go, I don't want to offend Democratic voters? Hilarious. When they attack Democrats, they go, oh, no, this is a big gift to Nancy Pelosi. I can't believe we attacked Democrats. That was a big gift to Chuck Schumer. Never said. Think about that disparity. And again, the corporate media never points out that disparity. It's amazing and unbelievable. And so, lastly, on Anna's point about more investigations and the polling. So, you're gonna do more investigations, Pelosi? There's like a year and a half left. Well, like when they conclude a year from now, well, then we'll have a 4-month window. What you're saying is, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do impeachment. I'm not ever gonna do it. Now, are they right about the politics? Last thing. So yes, I've made this case 1,000 times. Fighting actually gets you to better results, and the Republicans have proved that through their strategy. And the Democrats lost 1,000 seats cowering in a corner from the Republicans. So those are facts, and so their strategies are proven failure over and over again. But right now, Donald Trump's approval rating stands at 39%. That's terrible. I remember when Bush slipped into the 30s and there was like a panic and everybody's like, oh my God, a president is in the 30s. That's terrible. Can the Republican Party ever recover, et cetera? Trump is at 39%. Everybody's like, oh, he's on top of the world. Don't anger Trump voters, don't anger Trump. You're so scared, you're so sad. So, and they asked in that same poll, would you definitely vote for Trump, consider voting for Trump, definitely not vote for Trump, et cetera. 24% say they're definitely gonna vote for Trump. By the way, that's a bad number for him. I thought his immovable base was 28% based on other polling. Apparently it has moved. It's only 24%, that's a terrible number. What percentage say that they will definitely vote against Trump? 49%. That does not include the people who are likely to vote against Donald Trump or are on the fence or probably going to vote. None of that. Just definitely going to vote against Trump is at 49%. That's a monster number. He is deeply unpopular and still the Democrats are afraid of their own shadow. Pathetic. Look, the last line of this petition is the most important. Ask Congress to enforce the law. TYT.com/impeach. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at TYT.com/join.